Hello everybody, how you doing and welcome. My name is Lord PeteyTV. I'm here to give you some Star Citizen content. Now, I've always been intrigued with the game. Thought it was pretty cool, so decided, hey, we're going to start doing a couple of flights, seeing how it operates. We're going to be starting out with mouse and keyboard for a little bit. If people enjoy this content, then I'll probably get some flight sticks. So I just wanted to say welcome and hope you enjoy. See you all soon. Now, as everybody knows, Star Citizen is very realistic, and this game is like no other. And this is the first time I have played in God knows how long. I played it once before during a free fly event, and it was very, very short. So I kind of had to relearn how to do everything. And I went through the small portion of the tutorial in the beginning, and had to log out real quick for family reasons, and then we ended up coming back here. And as you can see, I am still learning my way to navigate around the main area of the first town. Now, I would say that the biggest thing I will say that I'm enjoying about Star Citizen is how realistic it is for a flight sim. The buttons and things like that, I'm taking a little bit of time to get used to. But this is definitely, something like no other. Now, as you can see, as we're walking through, we're kind of using the F key and kind of focusing on what we're clicking on and going through. We left our bed area or room, and now we're working our way to the hangar to get to our ship to do our first test flight. Now, we're going through basically the slums and the other small portions of the area to get to the hangar. Now, we have to go to the Metro Center, which we're going to be running to in just a moment, and we're going to find that, and then we're going to go and we're going to take the tram from the Metro Center from this area into the other. Now, I did get lost on multiple times trying to find it around. But being an individual from New York, I learned to look at the signs, and then we went from there. We kind of walked around. We went to each of the signs, each of the locations, and I found the Metro Center, and then from there, we kind of went forward. Now, it took me a little bit of time to kind of go around, but then I remembered, oh, there's the Metro Center, so we're going to run this way, and we're going to take the train towards the spaceport. As that logically makes sense. So we end up going towards the spaceport, and then we end up taking the tram over. Now, there is a timer here on the trams, so sometimes it may or may not be there, but it will be right above that doorway where we just walked in, and now we wait to go to the other side. Once we end up disembarking from the tram, we're going to go and we'll walk into the space management area, if you will. So we go through customs, and then we're going to go down here, and then you're going to see these panels right after you proceed to walk through this next walkway. These panels here are for fines if you end up doing something, I assume, with the being bad of some sort. You have to pay a fine. Here is the fleet management, where we have our our deliverable and stored temporary ships. So we end up getting our request here from our Anvil ship. The other one is at a different location, so that was my fault because of the first attempt to do this. Now we end up walking around multiple areas trying to figure out how to get to the hangar. Now, I learned if you take the elevator and you go down, it'll end up being another option. You kind of go over here and use the scroll wheel, or it'll be right there. Click on your hanger, door closes, and you end up getting into it. Now, once you end up walking out the door, you'll see, the cursor kind of spin around. Now, these are pretty much based, most of the spaceports that I've encountered, they all look generally the same. This is one of our temporary ships that you end up given. In another one of the videos that you'll be seeing, I also own a Pathfinder that is more of a larger ship. But this one is very, very basic. So we make sure we close the door and we hop into the seat. Now, I ended up trying this first time using the facial recognition, which means I could end up moving up and down, left and right, looking with my face, and the ship moves. I did have some problems where I had to recalibrate, and that's why it looks so funky for this time, because I really wanted to see how it ended up operating and looking. So that was one of the bigger changes I ended up doing. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't a huge fan with it. Maybe if it was in full VR, it would end up being a little bit different. But what ended up happening was when I was moving left and right, and you'll see, I ended up moving with my cursor a little bit and ended up like spinning the ship in weird ways. So I wasn't, really used to it. Maybe it'll be a little different once I get some joysticks and flight sticks, but we'll end up seeing. So once we end up kind of getting into our place and learning what we're doing here, the first thing we end up having to do is we end up having to turn on the power. So we're going to end up looking around, and we're going to look for the power and the flight button and the engine button. So you want to end up using either U to power up the ship, or you end up, looking around and you hit that power on button. So here you go. And we're going to go to that flight button and engine button, and you want to make sure you turn both of them on, and you'll hear both of them go on. Once you hit that flight button, you'll see the whole entire UI initiates. So once that whole thing initiates, you're kind of looking around, you have to see what you got to do. And the first thing you really need to do to leave the hangar is to hail the spaceport. I'm still trying to get used to the looking around portion of this, and that's why it looks a little different. Now here on these scanners, you can change them and you can kind of go through different configurations and see how things are. Here's the communication portion of our navigation system. There's also a cruise control, which I ended up learning how to use in a later video, which we'll talk about when we get there. So right now we're going to hail the hangar request. Now what ends up happening is the hangar above you for this location opens up. Some of them will be a straight door in front of you or behind you, but as for here, it is just a door up. So what you end up doing is we're going to probably look up and we're going to see if the door is open in the ceiling, and then after that we're gonna fly out. It takes a little bit to open up. It's very realistic, so it's not something that you can just do right away. There's also a zoom feature if you really needed it. But as you can see with my mouse, the mouse is like really, really obscured in how it moves around, because I'm not used to the point of holding down F to focus on things, so it takes me a little bit to get used to that. Now, the easiest way to start going and moving around in the ship while using mouse and keyboard is using that space bar to lift up. Once you end up lifting up, you can spin the ship, you can move around. It works out pretty well when you're, moving around. And you can see with the mouse cursor how it moves left and right. It really works. So now I'm looking up because I know I'm supposed to go up and the door isn't open. So I have to rehail the location to allow the door to be opened. So I land first, and then I proceed to try to hail. As you can see, it says collision warning because I'm still trying to get used to it. The lateral movements using the WASD keys, and it's very, very touchy with the mouse, which kind of makes some people dizzy, especially with using the head, viewpoints. So it's something that that's why I don't fully recommend that happening. So now I'm going to try to hail the guys here to open up the roof.
Landing gear deployed. Landing complete.
And as you can see here, we're going to hail the roof again, and it's going to open up. This time, we're going to end up trying to keep an eye on what we're doing here and trying to not procrastinate it. Now that we kind of understand how to fly in general, as you can see, that roof is opening up, and I still don't have full control over how to use the mouse right now. I know this video is very hard to watch, especially with the head recognition and also the mouse movements, and I apologize, but I promise you it does get better in future videos. So now that the roof is open, we want to go up and we're going to fly up. So what we're going to do is we are going to hit that space bar and we're going to lift up into space. So let's go.
Landing complete. Shields offline. Shields online. Takeoff complete.
And as you see here, we're going to lift up and we're going to see how it's going. Now, the first thing you kind of want to do is once you go into space and you're kind of flying in this location is you want to hit N. You want to pull your landing gear back up.
Landing gear.
And then from there, you're able to move around. You then eventually, if you're going to want to go from another location like this checkpoint, you're just going to fly. And it's kind of just teaching you generally how to fly around the rooms and how to fly around the maps and so on and so forth. And with another point like this, which is really far away, they teach you how to speed up where you're going. So what you end up doing is you're going to go to your nav mode, which is very interesting. So you hit and hold B, you lose all your shields, and you're going to get this circle that forms in front of you. Now, it's going to say spooling, which means it's going to be essentially using the navigation computer to understand how to go from location A to B. And it takes a little bit to do that, but you need to make sure that it's like that the whole entire time. Also, using your shift key is going to produce your afterburner so you can speed up to different locations. Now, as you can see, this location is very far away, and we're going to have to use the quantum drive. Uh, so to do that, we're going to hit that B button, and we're going to end up, changing over to be able to fly over to that location. I know I'm trying to still understand how to do this, but we're going to work on it. And I'm like, okay, got to use the quantum drive. Here's the spooling portion. It targets up. And then once you understand it targets up fully and you calibrates, you hit and you hold your left mouse button, and it ends up sending you to that location. So we're going to end up, it's going to take a second because I'm trying to understand how to do it. And there's the quantum drive, and it pushes us there. And I know my head jostled. It's because I was not ready for the movement of that. Now, this is the next type of tutorial area, I guess you could say. Everest Harbor. It is a spaceport. Now, the reason why I wanted to make sure you understand that is because we just came off of a planet-based location, and now we're going to be going into this spaceport. Being that we're too close, you can't use the quantum drive. So that means you have to fly regularly. So we end up pivoting, and we end up hailing them, and as soon as we can get close enough to dock onto them, and we'll show you how that docking situation differs than the other location. Now, using that tab button really tells you what's all around you, which is really nice because you're going to need to know that for later on if you're looking for other ships or other things going on. So here it's asking you to just to hail. So you can do Alt plus N, or you can go to your comm ship and request your landing, and we did that. So what ends up happening is you look around on your on the ship, and you'll see that there is a docking area labeled for you, and it says, land at this location. So normally it will just say, like for me, it'll say Lord PeteyTV hangar. Depending upon your ship size, it might say small, medium, large, whatever it may be. The reason why I wanted to specify that is because you really need to know when you are in another location, and let's say you fly to a location with a small ship, you need to move to a medium-sized hangar. You need to make sure you go to a different size hangar to make sure you can end up doing that. And this is us trying to dock in. It is not easy. So we end up hitting the end to pull our landing gear down, which does slow us in speed, but it allows us to have a little bit more maneuverability, as you can see. And this is us trying to get in here safely. Now, I know this is probably not the most normal way to do it, but I'm trying to fly directly straight in, and then once we get to a decent location, I try to come down and land down, but it doesn't work so well. So it's because we're in a different type of location. But if you hit and hold N, it will auto land for you, and you'll see that it's right now I'm technically not landed. So I have to kind of spin around. I hit the N auto land button, and you'll see how it'll eventually land perfectly on the ground, which is something that you need to do, but you need to be somewhat in a normal location. See, I'm technically landed right now, but not in the right spot because the auto land button didn't work. So I went to the location, hit the auto land, and I actually landed properly, and everything is good and we're done. So it took me a little bit to kind of get used to all these little like basic flight movements for the first flight, but it really allowed me to get an understanding for how to fly, how to work with this, and how to operate it. So that is my first flight pretty much in its entirety. Now, the second flight we're going to talk about is me when I did my first delivery type flight, and there's a lot of things in there that I did not know. And the reason why I ended up wanting to do this is because I really wanted to show people the, how-tos of how to deal with certain types of logs and things like that as they're going through the process. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the others that are coming. Thank you so much, and enjoy everything else. Hope you all enjoyed our flight here. Now, as always, if you enjoy our content, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, the follow button, all the fun buttons that you wish to support the channel with. As always, I am on Twitch and on YouTube, so please come check us out. Thank you again. Enjoy.